This is iLLANOiZE Radio with Biko, Illinois Jones, and Pretty Riot going down right now.
First, I always like to start and just ask, like, how are you feeling? Like, I know you just kind of hopped into how excited you were, but outside of that, how are you feeling today?
No, I'm feeling super blessed, honestly. Being at Lovers and Friends this past weekend and seeing all these people that we grew up listening to still creating and just being top tier. It's just like, wow, like I'm in this field and these are my peers and I'm on my way and working to be in that position as well. So I just woke up feeling really grateful. I don't know.
Yes, I love that. What was it like performing at a festival? Like, is that different from performing at just like a regular concert venue?
It's a little bit different because there's so many people, there's way more people at festivals than there are at concerts, and they're there, to see all artists and discover new artists. So I was just able to perform for people that I may not have had an opportunity to perform for, at my own shows. And but the energy's still the same. I still feel, I don't know. It's a special feeling. I don't know how to describe it.
I was just gonna say, like, is it like an adrenaline rush that you get, or is it like actually feeling the energy of so many people? Because I can feel people's energy. So when I'm just attending festivals and I just feel all the energy in the room. So what is it like? Is it an adrenaline rush or is it like an energy rush?
Anytime I'm about to get on stage, there's definitely an adrenaline rush or an energy rush, whether it's like 10 people in the crowd or thousands of people in the crowd. But I think the main key is just making sure my energy is good and I'm relaxed and intact, because whatever I give is usually what the audience kind of bounces and feeds off of. So as long as I'm in a good space and super excited to be on stage, which I always am, then the crowd will feel that as well. And I felt that.
Good, absolutely. What are some ways that you keep yourself grounded, especially since you've been like on tour recently? I know you were like opening up with iLLANOiZE. So how do you keep yourself grounded on the road?
Keeping myself grounded would be to definitely pray. I pray every morning.
Amen.
I pray before shows. Whether it's just to keep my mind clear, usually just to be thankful for just all the things that are happening, because everything is preparing me for the next big thing. So always just remaining grateful. Really like leaning on my team and, just talking things out with them because I trust them and we're on this journey together. When I was on the road, like there were moments where I started to question what I was doing, if this is enough, should I add some tricks, some juggling, backflips? I'm like, is this enough? Usually when you have those feelings, you try to keep them to yourself or figure them out by yourself. But it's always better to, one, just get these inside thoughts out of your head and say them out loud, because sometimes when you say them out loud, it comes out to be a little irrational. It may not make as much sense as it did inside your brain. And then just talking to, the people that you trust and are comfortable with, so they can just kind of remind you or just kind of help just ease the vibes. So I would definitely say leaning on my village, praying, staying hydrated. I don't know. Every time I just feel hot and just bad, I just drink some water and I feel better.
No, I definitely understand. One thing I love that you talk about is like leaning on your village. Was it hard for you to build a team, or are these the people around you that have kind of come up with you and they've been able to see your growth?
I'd say it's a little bit of both. I have like a manager and a publicist who I met when I was living in DC. And when I just started speaking into the universe that like I want to build, I want to grow, and I need a team, then I just started being presented with people that were like, some worked, some didn't work, but mainly like I felt really strong vibes between myself and DJ Money and with Lena. And from there, we just kind of like were able to stick together and just grow and just be in the mud. And, I think, and I give a big shout out to them because they kind of showed me what it's supposed to feel like when you're comfortable with someone, or when someone really believes in you and is down to like be in the mud versus like get the results and the gold. You know what I'm saying? And then, from there, we just started kind of going through more mud, which led us to Los Angeles. And then I was, fortunate enough to connect with LVRN. And, another thing, I just felt that they were here for the art and they were here to win, and they saw the potential in me and they wanted to grow. And those are the main things that I look for in a team and in a village, just people who really see me outside of what I can do and just for who I am, and are down for that journey. And usually if you're down, we're just going to be in the mud tweaking and freaking. Just people who are down to be in the mud.
Tweaking and freaking. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, I made it up. I'm gonna get it on the t-shirt.
What was it, a culture shock going from DC to LA?
Oh, it was definitely a culture shock. The East Coast is a completely different vibe from the West Coast. It's just its own ecosystem, its own climate, its own type of music, its own accents. You know what I'm saying? But California was definitely the culture shock that I needed because I want to be able to navigate through any space and any environment and know how to work any area or any space that I'm in. So, LA being way bigger and it's a different pace and people from all over the world, it just gives you an opportunity to just work a new space and just get comfortable in it and figure out how to infiltrate it.
Did you find it like hard or difficult when you first got there to get acclimated to LA, or did you come there like kind of knowing some of the spaces you wanted to be in? Because LA is a big city, and from what I hear, it just seems very intimidating in a sense of like a lot of people go out there to live their dreams. So did you deal with that at any point?
Yes and no. Lena, my publicist, she was staying out here. Because when I first started doing the back and forth thing with LA, it was in 2018. So I had at least one point of contact. So I can at least have somewhere to lay my head while I was visiting. And, I was just the same as everybody who moves to LA. Like I'm excited. I want to pursue my dreams, but I'm not, and I'm hungry, but not thirsty for anything. So I think from there, you just kind of start seething out like what you want for yourself and the people that are going to be around you. It definitely comes with a lot of like settling, but really like settling with yourself and just knowing what you're not willing to budge on. Because LA is just, there's so many personalities and so many people like finding themselves. I mean, not even just LA, just people moving to new cities. It's just like they have an opportunity to start over, but that means you're getting different versions of people at different times. So I think the biggest key is just being in tune with who you are and at least knowing what you don't want. Because I'm a person who's very indecisive, but I definitely know I know my non-negotiables. And I think once you become more comfortable in the things that you're not going for, it becomes easier to last in cities like these because you just start attracting the people who are like that as well. And then from there, you just start building your village. And it is a slow process. I don't even know if it's just an LA thing or if it's just really just moving into a new city and just being an adult. Like, just knowing your boundaries and what you want, and then just being patient with the process to finding the people who are supposed to be around you.
Yeah, I definitely think it's an adult thing. I think like definitely going into a new city plays a factor, but even myself as an adult, like just finding my own village has been difficult. Like you make friends, you lose friends, like, and I definitely want to talk about that too, because I was listening to the voice notes, girl. I was listening to them, but one thing you mentioned was like you moved to LA like back in 2018, or you started your back and forth. Now, I have to kind of be a fan for a moment because I found out about you in SoundCloud, I think in like 2014, and the first song that I ever heard, I'm not trying to bust you out, was Forever Young. And I remember the song because I love like the ad libs that you sang in the beginning. So of course, like the music industry kind of shifted and, you move away from SoundCloud. But when I found you again, it was like this shift 2018. I'm like, okay, my girl has been working. Like, so I just want to say, like, from a fan perspective, like, I don't even know if that's like right to do that in a radio personality perspective, but I don't care. I'm gonna give you your flowers, girl. It's been so amazing to just really see your growth and see the shift and like see the maturity in your music, and like just seeing you resurfacing recently, like in my life, just seeing you come back up on my timeline and seeing you do your thing. It's just like, damn, she's really been working. So I love that. I had to say that because I'm like, I was excited for this interview specifically for that. I always love when I'm familiar with the artist's music. Like I'm an R&B girly, true and true. I be in my feels. So it's just so nice to see how far you've come.
I really, really appreciate that, especially because my first project was literally my first time putting something together. I didn't know what was right or wrong. I just did what I felt. And I don't really know what the objective was when doing that project. I just wanted to show myself that I can complete something and to know that, it still hasn't fallen faint. It means a lot. I appreciate it.
Yes, no, your hard work definitely goes noticed. Like I definitely love that. And one thing I noticed like specifically is how well your songwriting has gotten over the years. Like, what are some things that you've done to sharpen your pen?
Just not be afraid to live, not be afraid to feel. I think in my earlier writing, I would always just try to like kind of keep it like surface level so I wouldn't have to get too in depth on what's actually going on or the in between the lines things. I think it's just really becoming comfortable with like my life and my ebbs and flows and my journey and just knowing that I'm not the only one. And the only way that you can find out if there's more people is by sharing your story. And I think one thing that's helped my writing is just knowing that every song is a conversation. So literally just figuring out what the conversation is or the viewpoint or just the scenario, then it's just easier to just kind of like lay it out. And, of course, always just listening to the people that I grew up on and the people that I enjoy and just seeing what they do. And it seems like they're not afraid to like take you right to the street that they grew up on. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
Yeah.
not being afraid to like get really personal. People want to feel and they want to be there. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really just becoming comfortable with myself and all the ups and downs and just like life maturity, just knowing that everything we feel is okay and we're still here.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Pretty Riot, and I need you to do one sminy. Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Pretty Riot, and I just need you to do one small favor for me. Head on over to your app store, search iLLANOiZE. Hit the first thing that pops up because we the one and only, and download the iLLANOiZE app. I was catching up on some interviews that you were in, and I think someone asked you, like, were you in therapy? And you said yes. And you said like you talk weekly, and I'm like, I talk to my therapist weekly too, girl, because it keeps me from going crazy. Do you feel like being in therapy has allowed you to be more vulnerable within your creative process?
Absolutely. Therapy has 100% helped me be more vulnerable in my creative process because, again, like, I'll have human emotions that I feel are only exclusive to me. And I feel like they can get really crippling sometimes. And just to have that reassurance or have someone to really listen and tell me to say it out loud so we can just kind of like hash it out and figure out what makes sense and what doesn't and just to introduce a new perspective to all the bad things that I feel and just a way to get out of it and just more ways to just be patient and just gracious with myself. I think really being gracious with myself has helped me to just share anything better because I'm not embarrassed by it anymore, or I don't feel like, I'm gonna get judged or whatever the case is. And even if that was the case, the fact that I'm finally comfortable in sharing my truth, like that's the freedom that I'm looking for. And I feel like you'll be able to feel that freedom, in the music. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
No, yeah, you can definitely feel it through the music. I definitely think that you're an artist whose emotions translate very well on the track. And that's one reason why I really enjoy your music, because I think like now so many people are making music and people are putting themselves onto the track, but it's a difference when you can feel it, when I can feel like, no, I feel that, like, I don't know what she was going through, but she put it in this song. So you definitely are artists who translate that. And I love that for you. Even speaking of that too, because I think like just thinking about where the music industry is going and with R&B, and some people think it's like a lost cause and like it's like a lost art, but I just feel like people don't know where to look. Who are some of your like hidden gems, like favorite artists that you like to listen to that others may not know about?
Let me look at my phone.
Right, put me on, girl.
I'm not gonna consider anyone a hidden gem because I don't know. There's just so much great R&B and just so many amazing vocals out here and some crazy pens. Let's see. I don't know if anybody's a hidden gem. I mean, I love Ombre. I love Raven Lene. I've been really loving Kalela. Like I said, these aren't hidden gems.
Yeah.
I love Joyce Rice. I know Dochi's not an R&B singer, but I'm gonna
I
throw
I
Dochi on
fuck with
there.
those. Yeah.
Love Dochi. Fabo, he's an R&B singer. Incredible.
Have you ever heard of
Jazzy.
Cal Lux?
Cal Lux.
Mm-hmm. He has a song that's called "Are You in Love?" It came out like 2020. It's cracking the song. I'ma just say it. I
Mm.
think you should listen to it. It's by Kyle Lux and it's called Are You in Love? I think you really like the song. So dope.
I love songs with crack in it.
Me too. Okay, now you have to tell me, what's a song do you think has a little bit of crack in it?
I have a playlist in my phone. It's called Meh, which is just random songs that I like and gravitate towards in my head. Doesn't matter if it's old or new.
Nope.
Mm.
I didn't mean to stump you too much.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and say "Angel in Disguise" by Brandy's got some crack.
Mm.
That's
Okay.
crack.
Yeah, she sprinkled that in there like Salt Bay.
I
Yeah.
feel like I don't even know. It's like it wasn't even like I don't even know how to. I don't know nothing about crack. All right, but I feel like wherever the crack is, it just started in the back of the head, and then like massaged its way to the back of my neck, and then into my bloodstream. It's like I don't know where it came from, but it's there.
Yeah.
I could listen to that song and be lost in just the sonics of it, in the runs, in the lyrics. Like I can listen to it in just in different ways every single time.
What was your musical background like? Like, do you have any like classical training or anything like that? Like, tell me about your musical background.
So yeah, I do have some classical training. When I was younger, I used to take classical piano lessons, and then that teacher had passed on, and then her son started teaching me jazz piano. So I learned a lot about chord progressions, and that was kind of the age that I was like learning about Stevie Wonder and the Beatles and like Sarah Vaughan. Like he was just putting me on to like just OG soulful music for the world, you know. And I think from there I was like, man, I got it. As a child would, like I don't want to take lessons. I just want to figure it out myself. So from there I started playing by ear. And, you know, all through school, I was always in like choirs and, you know, little talent shows at school here and there. And then when I got to high school, I was accepted into a performing arts program where I learned classical music. So I was like in operas and we went competitions and summer programs. And from there, I had gotten a full scholarship to college for classical music. But at that point, I just felt like this isn't really where my heart lies and what brings me joy. Like I love to sing, but I want to spend more time in R&B. But now I'm in a space where, you know, I can create my own rules. So I am on the way to incorporating classical music back into this R&B genre that I'm doing.
So considering you have obviously the talent and you have the pen that has landed you, you know, with on songs with Mooney Long, Summer Walker, Ari Lennox, who are some other artists you would like to collaborate with?
I would love to collaborate with Miguel. I would
Oh,
love to collaborate with. I met him over the weekend too, so
we
it's
put it in the universe now. It's
it's the
out there
universe.
now.
It's in the neighborhood. I would love some sort of collaboration with Jill Scott. I love some 4 on the Floor. I would love a Kaytranada feature. I
That would be
mean, you
dope.
know, I don't know if I can dream collabs, and I'd love to work with Missy Elliott and Pharrell.
Yeah.
Those are probably like top dream collabs. Anybody with a good vibe and good music, I'm here for it. And I'm not limited to R&B, like any genre.
How do you know when a song is finished?
Mm.
Because I write poetry and I'm always the person like the poem tells me when it's done. I don't really get to tell the poem when it's done. So when do you feel like a song is finished?
When I start sharing it. I think
Mm,
it's on its way. It's getting to the finish line. I'm like, yeah, I want to play something for you. Let me get your thoughts on it. Because I am the person who will rinse a song out. Like if I wrote it and I like it, because sometimes you write songs and you'll just be like kind of in just heat of the moment of the recording, and then you realize, this is all right. But when I listen to it over and over again, and I'm like, did I miss a spot? Like, is there anything else I could have said in this conversation? Did I complete the thought? After I feel that, and then I start every little thing that I can nitpick on, I have an opportunity to fix it. I can fix the ad libs. I can change that note right there, listen to it 1,000 more times. Then I just send it off to a friend. Like, hey, can I play something for you? Or a big key is when I have to step away from it and like give it to my
mm.
manager who's like, who, you know, or give it to my engineer. Like I have to, if I keep touching it or keep listening to it, I'm going to keep finding problems. So when I make the big girl decision to say, take it away from me, take it out of my hands, take it away, then it's hitting the finish line.
Okay. So with that being said, when did you know that the Hurt book was finished?
Well, they told me that today was the last day.
Okay.
No, I honestly, I'm just learning more about the process and how what we think is perfection or what we see as ideal for a project is never what it turns out to be, which is not a bad thing. It's just keeping yourself open to just different into new perspectives and to just another way to view the process and know that you're not the only person listening to it. So I think the big thing is just staying out of my way. And like I was just saying to you just now, like I would have kept nitpicking. It's funny because I think the day before the project had to be submitted, I was in the studio. Like, I think I could do one more song. I just feel it in my gut. And I went hard for that session and it did not work out. So it's like just making peace that like, this is not like the end all be all, and that these projects are just like little progress points for where you are right now, and an opportunity for people to just, take you in different forms and telling yourself that there's so much more to come and it's only going to get better.
Is your business struggling? Trying to get your followers up? No problem. You can advertise with us right now. Tap that link above. Now let's get back to the show.
So I definitely want to hop into the Hurt book because I love how you kind of turned it into like a mini series. So you gave us the Hurt book, and then we got the Hurt book with the homegirl pack, and then we got the Hurt book with that's a tongue twister. The Hurt book voice note.
Right.
I want to hop into some stuff. Like I took some notes. Okay. Took some notes. So First things first, I do want to say, like, I think I received it very well. I'm a person that I do like the process. So I do love the fact that you took the time to not only just show us, but literally give us your voice and kind of let us in your head. Like that's almost what I felt like was almost listening to some of them like, oh, I'm actually in her head in between these songs and like getting the background information on that. So I thought that was really cool. So I want to talk about friendship breakups because on voice notes, the voice note for So Be It really stood out for me because I've had like crazy friendship breakups within the past year. So I know what that's like. And I feel like sometimes it's harder to grieve people that are still alive opposed to the ones that have actually passed on. So like, what advice would you give to someone that's dealing with a friendship, like a fresh friendship breakup?
I would just say to feel those feels, and don't force yourself to dislike this person. I think that's a big thing. Because when I was experiencing my friendship breakup, it felt like I just didn't want to be like, we're not in the same space and I don't want us to be friends. Like, I don't want to be cool. Like, for a long time, you just felt like when things happen, you part ways, it's got to be beef. But at the end of the day, like we've shared many memories with each other. And like, I just can't erase our history. I can't erase the love that I have for you. But just really making peace with myself that, people change, seasons change, things change, and change is good. And, just know that it's always going to be love. You just have to reset the boundary from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, like I still have love for my friend to death. Like you just can't erase this stuff. But, you just have to be able to make peace with where you are in this and just recreate the boundary. And I'll say for at least the friendship that I was referring to and So Be It, I didn't feel like, it wasn't a big fight. It was just kind of life just changing. And I don't feel like, the person will turn around and turn on me, or she has bad blood, or they're going to expose I don't think anything like that. I just hope that they're well, and I hope that they're, learning and growing on this journey the way I am. And at some point we can, talk about it. And if not, that's okay too.
I feel that like that kind of just spoke to me like, oh, I kind of wanted to know, was So Be It a difficult song to write? Like from, I guess, the artist standpoint, like, were you wondering, like, do people want to hear about this? Like, do people want to hear about me having a friendship breakup? Was that a hard song to write from that perspective?
It was a hard song to write because I was currently going through it and I still hadn't processed I still hadn't processed it. And I was in Orlando recording with Rodney Jerkins, and it's Rodney Jerkins. So it's like, I want to make sure I have the best ideas and I have the clearest frame of mind, but I didn't. Like, I was very upset over that. And so when I was in the room with the two other writers, and they're like, what are you going through? And what's going on? What are you going to talk about? I was like, this is all that's on my spirit right now. And then they were saying that they were kind of going through the same thing. And I was like, love and heartbreak and grief and loss is not always romantic, and it's not always death. And I didn't know if anyone ever talked about it. And when you stop being cool with somebody, you just assume that it's beef. And I just didn't feel beef. I was just hurt, and I still love the person. I didn't want to stop loving them, but I had to make a change for my own sanity, or I was going to keep chasing after it or keep trying to fix something that doesn't need to be fixed. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that song was painful. And then I was also kind of going through something with another really close friend. And I was getting text messages while I was writing the song about it. It's like, this hurts. And, I just had to express that. And I'm glad that, there was and I wanted to make sure, the beat, because when we wrote it, it was just to a loop. And I wanted to make sure the sonics, when the production was added, that it still had tempo, because, no matter how painful this is, we still got to keep it moving, and not all losses have to feel bad. It can have a little knock to it. It can feel good. It just takes time.
So I definitely want to kind of move into another voice note. So in the Do You Ever Know voice note, you referenced many nostalgia things. And I remember you said something about 106 in Park. And I loved 106 in Park. So I really want to know, what's your standout 106 in Park episode?
So there were different eras of 106 in Park. There was AJ and Free 106
and that was one of the questions I was going to ask. Are you a Free and AJ type of girl? Or are you a Terrence and Roxy type of girl?
Well, so I'm straight up an AJ and Free type of girl, but then I was a Terrence J, and it wasn't Roxy at first. It was somebody else. Julissa?
There was a period of time where they were trying to find, okay, I think I remember her.
It was Terrence and Julissa, then it was Terrence and Roxy. But I was definitely there for the Terrence and Roxy era. But one vivid memory, dang, that's the one vivid memory I can think about right now. I think Bow Wow was hosting. This is the only episode I remember. I can think of right now. Bow Wow was hosting, and he kissed somebody, Tyra Banks. I was like, he did what? That's probably the most vivid memory I could think about with 106 in Park. I just love the countdowns. Or on Wednesdays, there would be dancers.
Oh, yes.
I love
the performances.
And Freestyle Fridays. Those are the memories for real.
Okay, I love to see that I unlock some core memories for you. So what's next? What's after the Hurtbook? Well, are you one of those artists that once you finish a project, you're on to the next one in your head? You're like, okay, what's next?
I'm absolutely one of those artists. But I am learning to be patient with the process and know that just because I'm done with it does not mean everybody. So I'm just gonna let this project marinate for a little bit. Of course, keep performing, keep recording. I am ready to start on this next project, and I've already been recording, but I'm really just, staying present, being open to new opportunities, and just being everywhere that I could be.
You've been so great to talk to. I actually love your fit. I can't really tell, but these pants look so cute. You're welcome. But yes, it was so great talking to you. Thanks for sitting down with me on iLLANOiZE Radio. It's been so great to see you. I hope to see you surprised on somebody else's festival sometime soon. Keep popping out, keep showing us that. Do you have anything final that you want to say? Any shout outs or anything that you want to give?
Of course, thank you, and shout out to you for having me on this interview. And thank you to anybody who watches this. And I hope that you continue to follow me in my journey. The Hurtbook is out now. The Hurtbook Deluxe is out now. The Hurtbook Deluxe Homegirl Pack is out now. The Hurtbook Voice Notes is out now. There's so much coming, and I hope you'll be there for it.